Module 9, welcome back, and this module is all about fun. And what is fun about? Well, fun is really about the time you get to celebrate your book launch, right? So a lot of my authors over the years have wanted to know, how do I do a book launch? What do I need to understand? Is it a free or a paid book launch? And what are the kind of things I need to look out for? And how do I find a venue? And what's important to understand in the promotion of the book launch? So I generally say when you should start thinking about the book launch is when your book is about 6 weeks out from being in your hands. So it's most likely still at the layout stage, because usually your print stage is going to take a couple of weeks. Layout is about 3 to 4 weeks. I think at the end of the editing, actually, just before it goes to layout. So then you've got to pick your date. The number one thing is pick your date, and then you work backwards from it. So you're going to have to, so say for example, today is the 1st of May, somewhere in mid-June is going to be your book launch night. What night do you choose your book launch to be? Well, really this varies, but I tend to like more evening style book launches, 7 till 9 p.m. or 8 till 10. Weekend book launches might work okay as well, but in my experience and what I've seen most of my authors do, and what we do for our group launches, is that we get them to do them in the evenings. And we have varied and tested free versus paid book launches. So why free versus paid? And from the olden days, if you like, in the past, always book launches have been free. I mean, why should someone pay for a book launch? But what I have noticed is that people don't tend to have the commitment that you're going to turn up. So your catering numbers and your people that are going to come along to your book launch are so up in the air. You just don't know what's going to happen. You wish and hope that someone's going to come to your party, but you really don't know if they will. Now, of late, what we've been doing is we have been doing paid book launches, but with massive value when it comes to the ticket price. So people come to a book launch because they want to support the author and that they're interested in the topic that they're going to come and see it being launched. So therefore, why not in your ticket price actually include a copy of your book? And also, so lately what we've been doing, and this is only a ballpark figure and at the time of the recording of this video, but we've been charging $30. So for that $30, people get a copy of the book, and in our group launches, for example, they get to select their favorite book. But not only do they get the book, they get a drink on arrival of their choice, and they get obviously nibbles throughout the night. So actually the investment of $30 can really help you cover all of the expenses that you have when it comes to launching a book, because hiring a venue, buying food, buying drinks, plus all the books that you're going to have there can end up being an expensive process. I'm not saying that people don't have the resources to do this, but if you don't, then having a paid version, it actually makes you more at ease. You know that 90% of people who have bought a ticket to come along to your book launch are going to turn up. For 10% is generally that things are going to happen. And for those people, you can actually offer to post out their book, maybe something, they're not well or something happened in their life that prevented them from being there, and that way you can reach out for them. A paid book launch also does another wonderful thing. It actually gets you to have and continue to build your database, so that your database of people who are going to be relevant to your topic, who are interested in your topic, and those people that you can then send a thank you and actually give them an opportunity or a call to action to take that very next step with you. And you can also organize awesome prizes for your book launch. Or another thing you can also do is get your book launch sponsored, maybe by a photographer, which will get awesome exposure, and the venue could sponsor your book launch as well. We've had a few authors achieve some of those types of sponsorships, which has helped them pull together the massive project that a book launch is. So what I have got for you, what you will receive as a resource, which is part of this module, is the book launch system, and also a checklist of all of the things you need to consider and how you need to promote your book launch. So some of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about is, number one, the venue. Okay, so where will you host it? It certainly pays to seek out 4 or 5 or maybe 10 venues to get quotes from. So get quotes in terms of, you know, what are their rules around. Sometimes they only want you to have a particular amount of money to spend in turn for having the venue. So one of our group launches that we had, you know, at the Pancake Parlor years ago, is that you needed to spend at least $500 with them, and therefore that would give us that amount of food, and they wouldn't charge us for the venue. Is there parking? That's super, super important, because people want the convenience of being able to park. Is it central from most areas of that particular city and town? And by the way, a book launch is not exclusive just to a once-off night. You can actually launch your book in many different cities. You can actually do a book launch tour. I think someone said to me once upon a time, I think it was one of our authors, she thought that you launch a book once. And I go, no, well, the period during your launch is the period that you can actually get your book launched in many different cities and in different places, so that you get the biggest oomph, your bang for your buck. Now, another thing you need to consider is, how do you set up? So how do your decorations that you select match your book theme? So is there a specific theme? You know, if you've done a book on finance, could you have little dollar signs flying everywhere? You know, have green colored balloons to make it really visual and appealing, because then your photos are going to look fantastic, and you dress up your table with a beautiful tablecloth. Have some you know, a decoration set up so that, you know, it's eye-catching and grabbing. I always encourage my authors at our Ultimate 48-Hour Author group launches to actually have, you know, everything set up and thought about. So then we end up having almost like a little mini book expo. By the way, you doing the online course, when you're ready with your book, and if you do want to take part in one of the Ultimate 48-Hour Author group launches, I'm welcoming you, because you're part of our community. You would have finished your book doing our system, and even if you haven't attended our retreat, it doesn't matter. I'd love to have you and showcase you there. So do contact us. We do them twice a year in Melbourne, and they're absolutely becoming more massive, and almost they're becoming almost like a book little expo, rather than say just an intimate group of 10 authors launching. The last one was 17 authors, and it was just really transformational. And when it's a big group like that, we tend to do it over 3 hours rather than the 2 hours that I would recommend if it was just a single book launch. Okay, will you run video and need audio? Because if you're going to have more than 40 people in the venue, your voice is just going to drown out. So what I recently actually invested in is one of those portable speakers, and we had handheld mics, like cordless mics, and when we had the 120 people at the group book launch, we actually got everyone to speak into the handheld mics, which was really, really good, because no one had to strain or yell, and people at the back of the room could hear others. So either you don't have to buy that yourself if you don't have the resources, but definitely you want to ask the venue if they have that capability. And also, are you going to show some videos? Because at the last book launch, I set up a slideshow that I was showing from our various retreats with the various authors that were launching, and various different photos from them. So do make sure whatever your video and audio equipment that is required exists at the venue. And, you know, do they have like a projector screen or a TV you can run something from? And of course, you want to get a professional photographer not for all your book launches. I mean, of course, it's wonderful. Like, a lot of photographers will support and sponsor book launches. So don't be embarrassed of asking someone to do that for you, because in turn then you can promote them to the public and have their little watermark logo where you put them on social media and give them a blast out to you know, that they did the photography at your book launch. Otherwise, just invest in it. It's well worthwhile. And sometimes those $30 tickets that you actually sell, if you're going to do a paid book launch, can also cover that part of the night as as well. So realistically, you're not going to walk out with a profit, but you will most likely have paid for all your expenses and the printing side of your books. And the same applies for videographer. If you're gonna, will you consider having a professional videographer as well as a photographer? And I've had both at some group launches and sometimes just the photographer. But of course, the videographer can end up creating a nice little trailer of the night that you can upload and you can share on social media, which would mean that you are going to, get that credibility of looking super popular at your own group launch, book launch, and signing books and giving a speech. It could almost become a little bit like a sizzle reel for you being picked up as a speaker and an expert on your topic. Okay, times for food to come out. Okay, so the venue will want to know. Usually, book launches are a bit of a stand-up affair, so you need to figure out when the times of the food will be brought out. I recommend having 3 times food comes out. So say if it's like a 7 to 9 p.m. book launch, have some food come out at 7:20, then maybe at 7:50, half an hour later. You most likely will have your speeches at 8 p.m. and then maybe have food again at 8:30 for the last half an hour. It's important that people are not distracted during your speeches with food, and that you communicate this clearly to your venue. It is also important that you actually ensure that you have like a run sheet for the night, so that you know when you're going to go and set up, when is the photographer going to arrive, videographer if they're going to arrive, when is food going to come out, when a speech is going to be. Are you going to have any other people speaking about you, or will you have also an MC introducing you on the night and making you look even more special by having that introduction done rather than just you running your own book launch? So that gives you again an increased perception status in other people's eyes. And certainly helpers at the venue, crew, are so important to have at the door. If they, of course, allow people to pay at the door to buy a ticket, but don't encourage it in the early promotional stages while you're wanting to get your numbers, up and more firmed up. So certainly have someone at the door registering people, putting people's name in a bowl where they can be drawn out for lucky door prizes. And certainly for lucky door prizes, you can get other people to sponsor and hand in and give you door prizes that you can have, and that could be another way to entice people to come along to a wonderful evening. Crew, as we said, you're going to have, how many will you need? Like, depending on how many people you expect. If you're expecting anywhere between 0 and 40 attendees, then realistically you only need 1 crew person. Anything more than that, 2 or 3, because it'll just get really busy at that registration period. I suggest writing in your logistics emails before people come to the book launch that they arrive 15 minutes earlier, so that they can have time to settle in and start to mingle and network with other people. So do communicate, and always ask people to come earlier rather than later, or right on the time, because otherwise everything will start later and later and you're going to be off your timeline. Considering an MC, as I said, and if you're going to get an MC, get someone who has got a little bit of a funny and humorous personality, someone who is presentable and would make you and sound like a star. So that's what I would suggest. Will you have sponsors and other speakers? So as I said, if you do have sponsors, at what level of sponsorship of your book launch will they be? Will they also get to speak for a couple of minutes, or will they just be represented through their door prize? And if you do have any other speakers, how will they complement? It's, after all, this evening is about you. It's about you standing out and shining out. So make sure that everything that you get and organize makes you look like a superstar, and it makes the evening about you. Just like a wedding is about the bride and the groom and it's their day and all that, this is also that way. A book launch, your own individual one, is about you. So make it, a night you're going to remember. Music. Often I've come to venues and and there's just been like this deafening silence, and music really breaks this up. So think about, does the venue have some background music? Could you ask about that? Or do you take along even something as simple, I don't have it here, but I use a little portable Bluetooth speaker, UE Boom is called. So let me just write that down for you. And these are awesome when you run events and workshops, and it's small. It can be carried on planes. I take it on holidays as well to play music, you know, wherever we are. It's easily Bluetooth connectable to your phone. You can download your library of music and it'll play it. And it's actually quite powerful. I mean, you know, you're not creating here a rave party, but it's powerful to create that background noise and, you know, a little bit to cut the deafness through. Drink and book vouchers. So if you are going to do a book launch, make sure that you are you know, you have some way of people to claim their book as well, claim their drink. Because if they're going to get a paid ticket and they're going to get one drink for their paid ticket and one book voucher for their paid ticket, then what I have done is actually laminated a little wine glass on a piece of paper, cut them on about 20 per page, and book vouchers as well. So when we do the group launches and people get registered, they get their drink voucher and their book voucher. So then they can go to the appropriate table where they want to select their favorite book, and then they go and also to the bar and get their drink, and that way they you know, everything is accounted for and there's no confusion. So make sure you're ready for those kind of things. I mean, there could be pieces of paper as well, you know, it could be some particular stamp. I'm not sure, you just figure out, but usually I have found laminating them, that way you can reuse them if you're doing multiple group launches and at different times, and it's easy, so you don't have to be cutting and laminating time and time again. Pre-signing the message in your books, so then only personalize them so it makes it quicker. I usually like to write a little quote in a book. So I'll say, dear, whatever their name is, and then I'll write, so in my author book I write, to your authoring success, and then Natasha, smiley face, and enjoy. So that's quite a lot of writing there, and it can be kind of time consuming when you are signing books for people. So I do recommend that you pre-sign 30, 40, however many tickets you've sold, obviously, for the book launch. Pre-signing them so that when people arrive, all you do is insert their name on the book, and it'll be Dear John, and then you can date it as well with that particular date, so it's not actually time consuming to be writing out about, say, 25 words or so if you're writing something quite lengthy, and it makes it a lot faster, and people are happy and they really love the personalized message. And sometimes you can really personalize it, like have an individual form for a different person, but in those situations you're only really doing it when you're just one-on-one with them, right? But have your special quotes. So I have a little quote and saying that I write in each of my books, and it's different for each book. For example, this particular book, Natasha Denman Reveals 1,000 Days to $1 Million Coaching Business from Home, I write the little quote that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out, because it's all about days, right, in this particular book. So you know, bums on seats, we write, go get bums on seats, dear blah blah blah, go get bums on seats, Natasha and Francesca, and things like that. So personalize it, but pre-fill it out, because you're going to get busy at your book launch and you would rather be speaking to people and moving those opportunities further and getting people to do more things with you over just hey, it's just getting your book and getting distracted in signing that book. All right, logistics emails before and after the launch. It's super important that people get reminded that your book launch is coming up. So really good if you can send out a 10-day, a 3-day, and a 24-hour out email in terms of letting people know that you know, the book launch is just around the corner, 10 days out. You can also in the email put a link. Hey, if you know anyone else that would enjoy it in a night and you'd like to come along with them, get them to buy their ticket here, and put the link again to your book launch page. with 3 days out and 10 days out even, still send out all the instructions about parking, where the venue is, how the night will unfold, how do you use the book voucher, the drink voucher if you're going to have those things. So anything and everything that you need to share instructionally with the people that are going to be attending a book launch. And of course the 24-hour email, it just says, see you tomorrow, here's some of the information that you may not have seen so far, and looking forward to an amazing night with you. Then once the book launch finishes, because this is the beauty of you having had a list of people that have registered and paid, is that you'll have all the ones that have attended highlighted, and to those you can send a thank you email. Anything that you may have promised, any gift, anything extra that you can actually share with them that is going to add further value. And maybe if you had a call to action on the book launch, you can repeat it here, that people can take an opportunity to take that call to action and do whatever it is that you ask them to do. So this is really, really good. Registration process. So normally when I have crew at my events, I do brief them exactly what I want. So I suggest typing up the steps of registration. So usually we have 4 or 5 steps in ours. It's like, okay, person walks in, highlight the person of the attendee list. Second thing is give them their book launch and drink voucher. Write their name and put it in a bowl so that they can go into the door prize draw. And then fifth is ask them for their contact details if they're missing on the form for some reason, or there's 4 or 5 steps. And you want name tag. We usually have also name tag. Give them a name tag because people stand around and start networking with each other, and that's very valuable if they could have something like that to be able to introduce themselves and to have an awesome night and get more value out of the night, because book launches are a fantastic place to network and to mingle with other people. Arrive at the venue 2 hours before the event so that you're set up with 1 hour to go, and so that you can relax and have your celebratory drink, because it's nothing worse to be really frazzled. Yes, book launches tend to be a lot bigger. Lots of people are coming and they want your time and everything. But if you can and ask the venue, can I arrive 2 hours early? I want to set up and I want to sit down and maybe even have something to eat if it's available there myself, and have a drink so that I can start enjoying as people are starting to arrive. I hate when I get really frazzled if I haven't been able to arrive a little bit earlier, have a bit of fun just by myself and my crew and things like that. And so do the best you can, but I always say arrive extra early and settle in yourself, because you'll enjoy your special evening. And also another thing that I actually say is, because you're rushing around to setting up the room and all this sort of stuff, you get quite hot and sweaty. So I suggest that you actually wear very casual clothes arriving at the venue. Have your pretty dress or outfit or your suit if you're a man in a clothes bag, so that you can change once you have finished your setup. That's what I always do. I run around like crazy and set everything up and make sure that I also have flat shoes on and not heels, because why would you want to make yourself even more tired before the night when the tension's still in your body before having the people arrive. So be nice and comfortable, flat shoes, and always have your flat shoes as backup if you get tired during the night and maybe you guys have a bit of dancing or whatever, because it can happen. Then you can put your flat shoes back on. And also I tend to, once people have left, rechange back in my cash clothes, pack everything up and then go home. So big tip there. Don't get all sweaty and hot in your nice clothes. Any final makeup touch-ups, always have them there, and then you look your best self and start to welcome your guests. Certainly your speech is very important. Having and understanding what your call to action will be. just because you're having a book launch and the obvious call to action is, hey, buy my book. But if they're already coming on a paid ticket, they're going to get a copy of your book with their paid ticket. So what else will you have as a call to action? Will you invite people to have a sexy name session with you so you can bring them into your business and help them in some other way? Will you have an invitation to a workshop that you're hosting, that where they can also check out more what you do and go more deeper with you? What are the kind of things, what are some of the call to actions that you'll have, and how will they be then organized on your table? How will you take payments? How will you take registrations if it's an invitation to a workshop? So it's crucial after your speech to actually go at your table and of course do your book signing. Encourage people to wait till after the book signing to get their book, and then it gets that really sort of busy process. But throughout the night, always have someone also at your book table explaining and summarizing for people exactly what your special offers for your book launch attendees are, and so that they understand your business and what those calls to action actually turn out to be. So there's lots to do, lots to organize, but they're wonderful nights. They're totally worth it. They're great for PR. They're great, the media. You can let the media know a couple of weeks before your book launch that this is happening. That might give you some coverage into some local papers, and you just never know. Just make these 15 minutes of fame. I mean, I hope they're going to last way longer than that. Absolutely amazing, and a wonderful memory for you to treasure. It's really worthwhile. Just one thing is, don't expect to make tons of money out of your book launch. It's not about that. It's actually about the brand awareness, about you stepping up and saying, I'm proud of my message. I'm proud of the story that I have shared. I'm proud of the people that I want to help. And I'm here, I'm ready to help you. That's what it's about. It's more about lead generation. It's more about getting people into your world, understanding who you are and that you're now a newly published author. So if you have any other questions about book launches, because a lot of things do come up as you get ready for them, do ask our community, our Ultimate 48-Hour Author community that you're a part of, and we're more than happy to answer it. But also download the book launch system that I have attached for you in line with this module, so that you can start working on your book launch and planning it, and it'll be super amazing. I have no doubt, and if I'm anywhere local to you, please invite me. I'd love to come and support you. Have an awesome time, and I will see you at Module 10.